Hey everybody, welcome to Something to Talk About. And today I'm going to cover Marq Piper. Who? What? Hi! Welcome. My name is Taco, and we're talking Song of Ice and Fire, man. I take these characters that you don't talk about too much, and I do some deep dives into them. And I'm doing kind of like Prisoner Week this week, because I covered Willis Manderley earlier in the week, and now I'm covering Marq Piper. That's right, my name is Mark. M-A-R-K. But this dude's M-A-R-Q. Mark. Marqua. Marqua. Marqua? Marqua Piper. All right. Welcome, everybody. If you've never been here before, click like, subscribe. I do these in one big, long take. No editing and no polishing. You know, you just get what you get. You get me yelling at you. And, I don't know. I love it. And if you like it, watch more. I got a bunch. I've been covering these guys for a long time, and I'm going to keep covering them. And, doing 2 a week. So, Marq Piper. Let's go, man. Let's go. So, these are characters from the Song of Ice and Fire books all over the lore. So not just the Song of Ice and Fire, but the world of Ice and Fire. But this guy specifically is from the main books. And I cover characters who won't make it onto the show, or at least in a big capacity, and characters that are not POV, or characters that are not really big characters, right? Marq Piper's just a little guy, but he's cool. I like him. And he fits for Prisoner Week. So Marq Piper, look at that beautiful blonde hair. Marq Piper is a knight from House Piper. He is the heir and claimant, heir of Clement Piper and Lord of Pink Maiden Castle. Oh yeah, thanks to the Piper sigil. Cartoon nudity, I guess. I gotta do a warning for this one. And that's all right. You got your warning. It's a couple minutes from now, so if that's gonna offend you, talk to you later. Small amount. Eddard Stark and Catelyn Stark consider the young Marq to be hot-headed. Look how hot his head is. Marq is good friends with Catelyn's younger brother, Edmure Tully. Eddie and Marky and Patrick Mallister, also known as Packy, kind of give off frat boy vibes. They do. In those books, they kind of give off like frat boy vibes. Marq Piper and good old Mallister, Packy Mallister, and good old Eddie Tully. They kind of give off that. All right. Let's talk about House Piper. So the second slide I put up is usually the house, and I'm going to give a little really brief history on the house, but also show their sigil. And the Pipers kind of got a little risque sigil. So House Piper of Pink Maiden is one of the chief noble houses from the Riverlands, and its seat of Pink Maiden Castle is located on Red Fork, close to the border of Westerlands. Their heraldry is pink dancing maiden in a swirl of white silk over blue. Their motto is not mentioned in the books, but according to semi-canon sources, it is listed as brave and beautiful. All right, there you guys go. That was... And welcome back if you skipped over that. So, like a lot of characters in the Song of Ice and Fire, their story really kicks off when war starts. War in the Riverlands. Hoster Tully, Lord Paramount of the Trident, Old Man Tully, sends Sir Marq, Sir Carl Vance, and Sir Raymond Derry to King's Landing with the survivors of Shearer to ask permission of King Robert to destroy the Westerlands who are raiding the Riverlands. So a lot of these guys from Riverlands come down and they're like, Gregor Clegane and other Westerlandmen are like burning our villages and really messing stuff up. And they happen to talk to Ned Stark. This is a scene in the books or in the show. And also it's actually up to like, according to some of the big theory guys, it's kind of up to some interpretation. Some people think that these dudes are just provoking war and they're not actually getting that messed up. But that's some Preston Jacobs thing. Maybe other people too. But Permission to fight the Westerlands. Eddard Stark, Hand of the King, sends Raymond and Beric Dondarrion, Lord of Blackhaven, to execute Sir Gregor Clegane. And that's what kicks out the Brotherhood Without Manners, because that's when Beric goes to try to kill Gregor Clegane. And instead of killing Gregor Clegane, he gets killed by Clegane twice, and Clegane's 3 times. After their fathers were defeated by Jaime Lannister in the Battle of Hills Battle of the Hills. There we go. Battle of the Hills below the Golden Tooth. Marq and Sir Carl Vance began launching raids across the Red Fork of the Trident into the Westerlands. Their approximately 50 men attack Lannister supply lines, hampering Jaime's siege of Riverrun. So Marq and what did I say? Carl Vance are like, screw this. Let's cross the Red Fork and start messing with the Westerlands. So they start hitting supply lines that are heading to Riverrun to supply Jaime Lannister's siege there. But Jaime doesn't get as much food because Marq Piper and Carl Vance are like messing up their stuff. You're messing up my stuff. Robb's War Council. So Marq and Carl continue raiding until Robb Stark arrives to break the siege, the Battle of the Whispering Woods, and the Battle of the Camps. This is when he shows up and captures Jaime Lannister. You guys know what I'm talking about. The loss of the Lannister Outriders was thought to be due to Marq, so it was not realized that the host led by Robb was approaching Riverrun. All right, what did I just say there? So the way that the Battle in Whisper Wood happens is a couple guys go up and they just tickle Jaime Lannister, and Jaime Lannister goes, not gonna happen, and chases them, and then the entire army goes, hey, what's up, Jaime? And that's the Battle of the Whispering Woods, right? But because those guys don't come back right away, the rest of the Lannister army is at the camps, and they're like, how come Jaime and the rest didn't come back? So instead of them going, oh, Robb Stark's here, they go, oh, it was probably Marq Piper being a butthole. So let's not go out just to kill one small group. But it turns out it wasn't just Robb Piper. It was the entire North being a butthole, and then they attack. The Battle of the Camps happens. I don't think that the North are buttholes. Well, some are. Looking at you, Boltons. Afterward, Marq sits at Robb's War Council at Riverrun, where he calls to march against Casterly Rock, because of course he does, and also for allying with Renly Baratheon. He goes, let's ally with Renly Baratheon. Why not? Renly's young and cool, like me and Ed, right? Like, we're just the young, cool guys. And Robb's like, I'm younger than you, and I'm less cool. And he's like, no, instead, everybody then proclaims Robb as King of the North by the Rivermen, and Rivermen assembled at Riverrun. So instead of attacking Casterly Rock, Great John goes, King of the North! King of the North! And they all start King of the Northing. And that's how he becomes the King of the North. You're welcome. All right. Battle of the Fjords. Fords. Battle of the Fords. Battle of the Dodge. Battle of the Chevy. Battle of the Fords. Given leave by his liege lord, Edmure Tully, Marq leaves Riverrun with his men to defend his burned lands. Pink Maiden was burned along with Piper lands. That stinks. Marq leads House Piper during the Battle of the Fords. So he does go back to Piper lands. Now he's back for the Battle of the Fords. The Battle of the Fords is a series of engagements fought between the forces of House Tully and House Lannister. So this is when Robb's hanging out in the West with most of his Northmen, right? Right now, the Battle of the Fords is pretty much just Rivermen fighting Tywin's men. So, yeah. Tully and Lannister during the War of the Five Kings. It takes place on the fords of the Red Fork of the Trident. This is considered a victory over House Lannister, and Lyle Crakehall is taken hostage. I did a video about Lyle Crakehall. Strong Bars, a really good video. Go check it out. He's taken hostage in Pink Maiden Castle. Robb Stark, however, scolds Edmure in private for not listening to orders and not staying put. Because when Robb was over in the West, he comes back and they're all like, hey, we were winning the Battle of the Fords. And he's like, hey, cool, good job, Eddie, cool. Hey, Edmure Tully, good old Unk, can I talk to you? And he's like, what are you doing? You drove away Lannister. I was gonna come up and kick his butt. And now you drove him back to King's Landing. Do what you're told. And he's like, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, you don't know. Yeah, it's a good scene where he scolds good old Ed. Good old Eddie. Good old Uncle Ed. Uncle Eddie? That's a character from National Lampoon's Vacation. All right. Funeral and a wedding. With his father Hoster dying and his sister Catelyn under house arrest, Edmure spends much of his time with his friends, Marq and Patrick Mallister. Marq is one of the 7 nobles who launch Hoster's funeral boat at Riverlands. That's the picture I got there. It's a funeral boat. Due to Robb breaking the marriage pact to the Freys, Edmure is forced to marry a Frey instead. And that's good old Rosalind Frey. During the journey to the twins for his wedding to Rosalind Frey, Edmure rides with Marq and Patrick and Layman Goodbrook and young Vances and some young Vances. He rides with all the frat boys. Marq's retinue from House Piper includes at least 5 kinsmen who are knights and 20 men-at-arms. All right, he's got a nice host. That's what I'm talking about. So he's rolling with the rest of the frat boys, Eddie and all the other guys. But he also brings still some people from Piper. House Piper shows up for the beginning, at least, of the War of the Five Kings. Yeah. Well, this is kind of late game, too. All right, so the Red Wedding. Marq is among Robb's nobles who eat the food and drink of Walder Frey. Eat the food and drink of Walder Frey, Lord of the Crossing, upon arrival at the Kit Twins. So yeah, right when they show up, they're like, "Hey, can we get some guests right?" They're like, "What? Give me some salt and bread and water and stuff. Just give me some guests right." And Marq Piper shows up and he's like, "Tastes like guest right." Doesn't help. So, granting them guest right. During the wedding feast, Marq plays a drinking game with Sir Danwell Frey and Jess with Alex Frey. He joins the group, which takes Rosalind from the hall of the bedding, and Catelyn Stark observes him removing the shoe of Edmure's bride as a part of the bedding custom. That's a weird custom. The Starks and Tullys are betrayed. Yeah, that's right. By House Frey and Bolton, however, Robb is killed by Roose Bolton. Well, inadvertently, he's not killed directly by Roose Bolton, Lord of the Dreadfort. So, yeah, he's there at the Red Wedding, and then the Red Wedding happens at the Red Wedding, and he gets Red Weddinged. He doesn't get fully Red Weddinged, though. He, as far as we know, is still kicking. He's a hostage at the Twins. So this is my hostage week. This is my prisoner week. So we got a guy who's a hostage at the Twins. And then we covered earlier in the week Willis Manderley, who's a hostage at Harrenhal. Even at this point, he's about to be hostage at Harrenhal again. So Marq is held by the Freys as a hostage of the Twins after the Red Wedding, to the dismay of his own father, Lord Clement Piper, who believes that his bending his knee to Iron Throne will lead to his son being returned. That does not happen, which enrages Clement, leading him to threaten Edwin Frey at the War Council during the Siege of Riverrun. Yeah, there's a big War Council at the Siege of Riverrun, and which Frey is this? Edwin. Edwin's like, you know what I think we should do? And Clement's like, give me back my freaking son. Where's my son, Frey? What's up? Yeah, I would be mad too. Clement, where is Marq? Answer me that. What have you done with my son? He was a guest at your bloody wedding. And Edwin, and our honored guest shall remain until you prove your loyalty to his grace, King Tommen. So that's a conversation that they have. After after Riverrun surrenders, Jaime Lannister informs Edwin that King Tommen requires all captives to be taken during the Red Wedding, which displeases the Freys. So then Marq remains a captive at the Twins, but Jaime has said, no, give him back, Marq. What are you doing? So we do got a couple theories. As I said, if you've seen these before, I like to kind of do a deep dive and see if there's any cool theories or symbolism, stuff floating around that people think about the character that I'm covering, and this being Marq Piper, I did find some. So theories, not much here. So yeah, some speculate that Marq isn't actually captive of the phrase and they are just lying, but this isn't really supported by evidence. So yeah, the only thing I could really find, and it was just people thinking that the way the phrase are kind of like being cavalier about it, that they don't actually have them. And that they're kind of saying the same thing that the Lannisters are saying about Arya Stark, who they don't actually have. So, or they don't. And now they don't even have fake Arya. So yeah, a lot of people think maybe Marq is just dead, and it's possible. So yeah, Marq might be dead. It's not supported by any evidence. It's just speculation because they're just using kind of the same language, right? So he might be dead. He might not be. That's why I'm not considering it. I need to see evidence. He is most likely going to be freed, I think, and involved in Red Wedding 2.0 if that ends up happening. So yeah, I think I've talked about Red Wedding 2.0 before, but there's a really big chance that there's going to be another Red Wedding when Davin Lannister, who I did cover, go check that out, marries a Frey. They think the Brave Companions might show up in Red Wedding it right back at the phrase, right, and kill a bunch of Freys. So Marq Piper might be involved in that. That ends up happening. Besides that, I couldn't find many theories about Marq Piper. I looked. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that was it. That was good old Marky Piper. And I'm Mark. And that's Mark, but spelled different. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, if you've never been here before and if you actually enjoyed any of that, click like, subscribe. I cover 2 A Song of Ice and Fire characters a week, and I'm just cranking them out. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun too. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Thanks for all your support if you've been watching before, and welcome if you're new here. And yeah, don't get red weddinged. It's good advice. If you're going to a wedding, make sure it's not a red one. Peace.